Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows Lily, a woman who thought she knew everything about her husband, Greg. But after a shocking betrayal, their life together is turned upside down. Lily hired a woman to test Greg's loyalty, and the truth she uncovers leaves her heart broken. Now Greg wants forgiveness, but can Lily ever trust him again? With everything on the line, will she give him a second chance, or will their marriage be shattered forever? The tension builds as Lily faces a choice that could change everything. Stay tuned to find out what happens next, and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. Lily Williams had always been the perfect wife. She was beautiful, kind, and supportive. Her husband, Greg, was a successful millionaire businessman, always working hard and providing for their luxurious lifestyle. They had a big house, fancy cars, and traveled the world. But lately, Lily had started to feel something was off. Greg had been distant. He would spend long hours at the office, and when he came home, he seemed distracted. He wasn't as loving as he used to be, and Lily couldn't help but wonder if he was hiding something from her. One evening as they sat down to dinner, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She decided to take matters into her own hands. She knew she had to find out the truth. Lily had an idea. She thought about how she could test Greg's loyalty without him knowing. After some thinking, she came up with a plan. She would hire a girl to test him, someone who could pretend to be interested in him, and see how he reacted. If Greg was truly loyal, he would turn her down. But if he was tempted, then Lily would know for sure. The next day, Lily put her plan into action. She hired a young woman named Emma. Emma was pretty, confident, and charming, everything that would catch Greg's attention. Lily explained everything to Emma, and they agreed on a plan. Emma would start by casually meeting Greg at one of his favorite restaurants, pretending to be a fan of his business. Lily was nervous but felt she had no other choice. A few days later, Greg was invited to a high-end restaurant for a business dinner. Lily knew it was the perfect time to put her plan into motion. Emma showed up at the restaurant and casually sat at a table near Greg. She noticed him immediately. He was focused on his conversation with another man, but glanced around the room every so often. Emma, with a gentle smile, walked up to Greg's table, pretending to be a fan of his work. "Excuse me, Mr. Williams," she said sweetly. "I've heard so much about your business. I would love to hear more about it." Greg looked up, surprised by her approach. He smiled politely. "Well, thank you for the kind words. I'd be happy to talk about it." They began chatting, and soon enough, Emma started to compliment him on his success, carefully hinting that she admired him both professionally and personally. Greg laughed at her compliments, but he didn't seem uncomfortable. Emma was good at what she did. She could tell that Greg was enjoying the attention. Lily was sitting nearby, watching from a distance. Her heart was racing. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Greg wasn't rejecting Emma like she had hoped. Instead, he seemed to be engaging with her, enjoying the conversation. Lily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Was this really happening? Emma, sensing that Greg was interested, continued the conversation. She lightly touched his arm and leaned in closer. "I'd love to get to know you better. Maybe we could go out sometime and talk more about your business?" Greg smiled, but instead of politely turning her down, he said, "That sounds like a great idea. I'm sure we could work something out." He didn't seem to notice the tension in Emma's voice, or maybe he was ignoring it. Lily watched in disbelief as Greg agreed to meet Emma again. Lily's heart sank. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Was her husband really this easy to tempt? She had thought this test would prove that Greg loved her, that he would choose his family over anything, but instead it seemed like he was flirting right back. After the dinner, Greg came home, completely unaware of what had just happened. Lily was waiting for him in the living room, her mind spinning. She had to know the truth, but she didn't know how to confront him without it all coming out. Greg walked in, smiling as if nothing had happened. "Hey, babe, how was your evening?" he asked casually. Lily looked at him, her heart pounding. She had to decide what to do next. Should she confront him directly, or should she keep playing this game, digging deeper to find out the truth? She took a deep breath. "Greg, who was that girl at the restaurant? The one you were talking to?" Greg paused, a surprised look crossing his face. "Oh, you mean Emma? She's just a business acquaintance. We were talking about some potential partnerships. Nothing more. But Lily could tell by his face there was more to the story. Why was he so nervous? Suddenly, Greg's phone buzzed on the table, and he quickly grabbed it, glancing at the screen. Lily's eyes narrowed. Could it be her? Was Greg hiding something from her? Greg quickly glanced at his phone, trying to hide the screen from Lily's view. He let out a small sigh and put the phone down, looking at her with a nervous smile. It's nothing, just work stuff, he said, trying to sound casual. Lily, however, wasn't convinced. She could feel something was off. She had seen that look on his face before. It was the same look he had when he'd been hiding something. She didn't say anything right away, but her mind was racing. What was he really hiding? Was Emma more than just a business acquaintance, as he had said? The next morning, Lily decided to follow her instincts. She was no longer going to sit back and wait. She needed answers. After Greg left for work, Lily sat down and called Emma. She needed to know what had really happened at the restaurant. Emma had agreed to her plan, but now she had to hear it from her side. Emma picked up after a few rings. Hello, Emma answered, her voice friendly and upbeat. Hi, Emma, it's Lily, she said. I just wanted to check in with you about last night. How did things go with Greg? Emma hesitated for a moment before speaking. Well, to be honest, Lily, things got a bit complicated. He was very charming, and we had a great conversation, but I didn't expect him to act the way he did. Lily's heart began to race. What do you mean? Emma paused again. I thought he'd be more professional, but he was definitely flirting. At first it was harmless, just friendly chat. But then he suggested we meet up again, outside of business hours. I was shocked. He seemed interested. Lily felt a wave of shock wash over her. Was this really happening? Had Greg, the man she thought she knew so well, really crossed a line like this? Thank you for telling me, Emma, Lily said, her voice quiet but firm. I'll handle this from here. Lily hung up the phone and sat there for a moment, trying to calm her racing thoughts. She had all the proof she needed. Now the question was, how was she going to confront Greg about this? That afternoon, Greg came home early, looking unusually calm. He walked into the living room with a smile on his face. Hey, babe, he said, kissing her on the cheek. How was your day? Lily didn't return the kiss. Instead, she stood up and looked him in the eyes, her voice steady but filled with emotion. We need to talk, Greg. I know what happened last night. Greg's face went pale. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Lily continued, her voice sharp. I know about Emma. I know you agreed to meet up with her again. I heard everything. Don't try to deny it. Greg's eyes widened, and he took a step back, caught completely off guard. Lily, listen, it's not what you think. She's just a business contact. I didn't mean to lead her on. It was all innocent. Don't lie to me, Greg, Lily snapped. I hired her to test you, and you failed. You flirted with her. You agreed to meet her again. That's not innocent. Greg looked guilty, his face flushing. He had no way of getting out of this one. After a long silence, he finally spoke, his voice quieter than usual. I'm sorry, Lily. I didn't mean for things to go that far. It's just, I've been feeling disconnected from you lately. The pressure at work, everything, I don't know how to fix it. Lily's heart softened for a moment, but the hurt still lingered. That's not an excuse, Greg. You should have talked to me. If you felt disconnected, we should have worked through it together. But you went behind my back. You chose to flirt with another woman instead of facing me. Greg looked down, unable to meet her eyes. I was wrong. I see that now. Lily felt a mix of emotions, anger, hurt, but also a strange sense of relief. She had uncovered the truth, and now she had to decide what to do with it. Was their marriage worth saving? Could they rebuild the trust that had been broken? I don't know what to say right now, Lily said, her voice shaking slightly. We need some time apart, Greg. I can't just forgive you right away. I need to think. Greg nodded slowly, tears welling up in his eyes. I understand. I'll give you the space you need. Just know that I love you, and I'll do anything to make things right. Lily stood there for a moment, unsure of what the future held for them. Could their relationship survive this betrayal, or was this the end of their story? Lily stood by the window, staring out at the city skyline. The cold air from the evening breeze felt refreshing on her face, but inside her heart felt heavy. She wanted to believe Greg. She really did. But the pain of what had happened, the trust that had been broken, was something she couldn't ignore so easily. Over the next few days, the house was quiet. Greg kept his distance, giving her the space she asked for. He worked late, came home late, and didn't push her to talk. His behavior seemed to be sincere. He was genuinely trying to show her that he was sorry, but the silence between them only made Lily's thoughts louder. One afternoon, as Lily sat down for a coffee at a nearby cafe, she received a text message from Greg. He was asking if they could meet and talk. She hesitated for a long time, her fingers hovering over her phone screen. Was she ready to hear him out? Could he make things right? Lily thought about everything that had happened. She remembered the way she felt when she had first hired Emma. She just wanted answers. But now she had more questions than ever. Was Greg truly sorry, or was he just saying what he thought she wanted to hear? And most importantly, could she ever trust him again? She took a deep breath and typed back, "Okay, let's meet." The next afternoon, they met at a park. It was a quiet place, with trees all around and a peaceful lake in the distance. They sat on a bench far away from the noise of the city. Greg looked nervous, shifting in his seat. His face was tired, but there was a certain sincerity in his eyes that Lily hadn't seen in a while. "Lily," he began, his voice shaky, "I know I've hurt you, and I don't blame you for being upset. I should have never put you in that position, and I'm really sorry. But I want you to know that I'm committed to making things right. I love you, and I don't want to lose you." Lily stared at him for a long moment, searching his face for the truth. She could see the guilt in his eyes, but was it enough to rebuild what they had? "I don't know, Greg," she said softly. "I want to believe you, I really do. But you've broken my trust, and trust is something that's hard to rebuild. You should have come to me first if you were feeling distant. Instead, you went behind my back." Greg nodded, looking ashamed. "I know. I was selfish. I was too caught up in my own problems, and I didn't see how my actions were affecting you. I promise I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back." Lily felt a small spark of hope, but she knew it wasn't going to be easy. It would take time. Trust wasn't something that could be fixed overnight. "I need time, Greg," she said, her voice firm but gentle. "I need time to figure out what I want. I don't want to rush into anything. I need to see if I can believe in us again." Greg nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. "I'll wait, Lily. I'll wait for as long as it takes. I don't want to lose you." As they sat in the quiet park, there was a sense of peace between them, but also uncertainty. Lily knew it wouldn't be easy, but maybe, just maybe, there was a chance for them to rebuild what they had lost. That evening, when Lily returned home, she found a letter on the kitchen table. It was from Greg. She opened it slowly, her fingers trembling. Inside, there was a heartfelt letter filled with apologies and promises to change. He told her how much he regretted the pain he had caused and how deeply he still loved her. But the letter also contained something else, an offer. He wanted to take her away on a quiet weekend getaway, just the two of them, to help them reconnect. He wanted to show her that he was serious about making things right. Lily held the letter in her hands, torn between her heart and her mind. Was this his way of trying to fix things, or was it just another attempt to cover up his mistakes? She didn't know, but she felt conflicted. She still loved him, but could she ever trust him again? She placed the letter down on the table and sat there for a moment, lost in thought. It was time to make a decision, but it wasn't going to be easy. Lily sat there for what felt like hours, her thoughts swirling around the letter in front of her. She wanted so badly to believe in Greg again, but the trust had been shattered. How could she ever be sure he wouldn't make the same mistakes again? Finally, she picked up the letter and folded it carefully, setting it aside. She had made a decision. She wasn't ready to let go of her marriage just yet, but she couldn't keep living in the uncertainty. It was time to take control of her own life. The next morning, Lily called Greg. "We need to talk," she said, her voice calm but firm. When Greg arrived, he could see the seriousness in her eyes. They sat down together on the couch, and Lily looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "I've thought a lot about everything," she began, "and I know I can't just forget what happened. I can't erase the past, but I also can't live in the past forever. So here's the deal, Greg. If we're going to move forward, we have to do it slowly. We need to rebuild our trust, step by step. And that means no more lies, no more hiding things from me. You have to show me every day that you're committed to making things right. Greg nodded, his eyes full of emotion. I understand. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Lily took a deep breath. We're going to take a break from everything for a while. No big decisions, no rushing into anything. We'll go on that weekend getaway, like you suggested, but only if you promise me one thing. Anything, Greg said, eager for a chance to prove himself. You have to let me see that you're really changing. This isn't about just fixing things for now. It's about making sure we have a future together. No more mistakes. Greg looked at her with a determined expression. I swear, Lily, I will do everything in my power to prove that I'm worthy of your trust. I'll never let you down again. Lily nodded, her heart feeling a little lighter. She didn't have all the answers, but she was willing to give them both a chance. As long as Greg was serious about changing, maybe there was hope for their marriage after all. Over the next few months, things slowly began to improve. They took time to reconnect, not rushing into anything, but enjoying each other's company again. Greg kept his promises, working hard to show Lily that he was committed to rebuilding their trust. And while it wasn't easy, they found themselves growing closer once more. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Greg took Lily's hand. I love you, Lily, and I'm so grateful that you gave me a second chance. I won't waste it. Lily smiled, feeling the warmth of his words. I love you too, Greg. We've been through a lot, but I think we're stronger now. Let's keep working at it, one day at a time. And as they sat there, hand in hand, they both knew that their journey wasn't over. They still had a long way to go, but together they could face whatever came their way. The trust had been rebuilt, and the love between them was stronger than ever.